Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with my co-host, as always, Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, we're going to be talking state championship soccer. We're going to be talking cross country, and of course, we're going to be talking football playoffs. Finally here, we finally made it to the playoffs.
I'm fired up. It's playoff time, state championship in soccer, AAA. It's an all-Wilco final. Did you happen to see the game day special of Coastal Carolina and that Jamie Chadwell, the head coach, he brings in and they...
I did not see it.
Oh, he in the locker room, they have pro wrestling skits, and he gets up, he's got the table pre-cut. He gets an assistant coach on the table, and he jumps off, and atomic elbow drops and breaks him. That's what I feel like doing today, man.
The head coach did that?
Oh, head coach did it. I think we need to bring Lance out here on a table and macho man him, superfly snook him, fired up. Let's go.
So by the time this airs, the soccer's going to be over.
That's
but
right.
We're going to talk about it, because we're actually heading out to check this game out today. Game, match, either one's okay.
Should we throw that in the predictions today? I didn't mean to throw a little loop on
No,
you.
I think maybe we should.
Might be bonus points or something.
Well, let's don't do that.
Okay.
But we can't throw a prediction in. So for the second straight year in the large division, we have an all WCS championship. Ravenwood making their second consecutive trip to the finals. They defeated Brentwood last year. And then the traditional powerhouse in WCS, Franklin, the Admirals. First year as the Admirals.
Lady Admirals.
Okay, well, that's probably a discussion for another time, by the way. That's whether it's or lady.
Lady Vol, it was good enough. Pat Head Summit is good enough for me.
And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying we could have a conversation about that. So Franklin, Coach Burgoyne, taking on Coach Mancini and Ravenwood. And let's talk about their road to the final just real quickly. Ravenwood starts off with a dominating performance in round one, 5-0 against Maryville, while Franklin goes all the way to penalty kicks. Now, in this one, Tate, now you correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you've got a little soccer knowledge. Franklin is down 2-0 to Collierville with 20 minutes left. That's like being down 30 at half of a basketball game, right?
It's a lot. That's a big deficit that late in the game, yes.
What did they do? They score a couple of quick goals. Yakina Watkasuki with a goal, and then Avery Brown with a goal. Hey,
That's my Berman. I won't do it anymore. So.
Now get this. Brenna Swiger, there's like 17 seconds left in the match or the game. We can use it synonymously. I've talked to my soccer people.
Yes.
Brenna Swiger has a penalty kick because there's some kind of infraction inside the box, which gives you a penalty kick. What happens? The Collierville goalie with a save. Now it goes two overtime periods, right? 2 sessions. It goes to penalty kicks again. It's 4-all. Maddie Taylor with a diving stop. And then who makes the final goal for Franklin? Brenna Swiger.
Comes back.
She comes back.
Wow.
They end up winning. And then you go to the semifinals. Ravenwood 2-1 over Houston. Everybody's talking, oh, Houston's unbeatable. Apparently they were unbeatable last year. They got beat by Ravenwood. They do it again this year. Franklin 1-0 over Bearden, and now we've got an all WCS championship, and you can tell I'm excited about this.
Yes, I can, and I'm pumped up. I am too. It's big time stuff. It's like hitting a buzzer beater. It's like hitting a buzzer beater to move on. And I think, are the overtime periods 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
So those young ladies.
2 10-minute sessions, I believe, is what that is.
So I know we're going to talk about the final, but start thinking about that now. The Franklin young ladies have played a lot of minutes this week. A lot of minutes.
And a lot more stressful minutes.
Yes.
That Ravenwood, I was going back and forth because they were playing on 2 different fields at a little bit different time. I was checking Ravenwood out, hanging out with Mr. Henderson, whose daughter Nora plays, one of your former sales reps, right, for Wilson?
Oh, Russell Henderson.
Yes.
Oh, without a doubt.
Russell gets a little excited on the sideline. You want to kind of distance yourself.
Russell
from him.
Henderson.
He's liable to say or do something that you don't want to be associated
Yes. Don't ask him if you don't want the honest opinion.
So anyway, they were just dominating, and then Franklin, of course, had that tough matchup. Now, Tate, you said you wanted to pick, so let's do it. Regular season, Franklin wins 2-1. Region championship, Ravenwood wins 2-0. Who's winning?
Tough. I knew who I wanted to pick until I started thinking about all those overtime minutes. That's a lot of running. That's why Burgoyne doesn't schedule a whole lot of games during the season because they play. And so, seriously, that's a lot of running. But back-to-back's tough to do. I feel like this is Franklin's year. I'm going Lady Admirals.
Wow. Now, what I'm probably going to do is pick opposite of you, but actually, I'm going Ravenwood. And the reason I'm going Ravenwood, they have more seniors. I just think it makes a difference.
That would be back-to-back state champions. Coach Mancini, first-year head coach, state championship head coach. That'd be pretty strong.
Pretty strong. What a program. Couple of great programs. It's like the past meets present meets future, maybe, for Franklin. So we'll see.
Hey, big for Director Cup standings.
Oh,
too.
no doubt about it. We're going to talk more Director.
Brentwood's in the early lead with that volleyball domination. So this would be big for Ravenwood.
No doubt about it. Let's talk cross country here. Congratulations to the Brentwood girls and Franklin boys for their region championships last week. Now, the way this thing works, Tate, 3 teams move on. So on the girls' side, it's Brentwood, champion, Independence runner-up, and then Franklin. Ravenwood just outside the top 3, so they don't move on. However, if you're a runner in the top 10 and you're not on one of those 3 teams, you also advance. On the boys' side, that's Franklin, champion, Brentwood, second, Ravenwood, third, Indy and Nolansville, 4th and 5th. And, by the way, she's been kind of in the weeds a little bit, in the bushes, ready to pounce. We get to the region championship, and what happens? Lee Walters from Page steps her game up, and she wins another championship.
Yeah. She did her best Lee Corso imitation and said, "Not so fast, my friend." We're friends.
Jane Halterman, Independence, finished second. It was like a photo finish with Caitlin Vanderkoek of Brentwood, who finished third. Julia Halterman of Independence finished 4th. Other Wilco runners in the top 10, Brooke Till, 5th from Brentwood. Circe Mooney of Nolansville, 6th. Madison Lanai, 7th from Franklin. Eden Middlesdorf, 9th. 8th Brentwood. Emma Norman, Franklin, 9th. Emma Wilson, Independence, 10th. All the top 10 from WCS.
Yes. And what jumps out to you? You want me to tell you what jumps out to me?
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
10 seconds between first and second.
Well, I wasn't going to.
This time of year,
Yeah.
she must have been moving.
I thought what you were going to say is the number of Brentwood runners in that top 10, which makes, obviously, a great team.
Right.
On the boys' side, top finisher, Kevin Vanderkoek from Brentwood was 2nd. Brent Dassow, Centennial, 3rd. Nick Beatty, Nolansville, 4th. Hudson Hurst, Franklin, 5th. Will Johnson, Ravenwood, 6th. And then Nate Martinez, 9th from Indy. Philip Himes from Brentwood, 10th. So congratulations to all those runners. Looking forward to checking that out this Thursday. And it's at, how do you pronounce the location?
Is it in Hendersonville? Saunders Ferry. Right?
Spelled Sanders, pronounced Saunders.
No, it's Saunders. It's definitely
Yes,
Saunders.
yes, just making sure. We had this conversation.
Yeah, I know. I remember it. Got it.
All right,
Saunders Ferry.
Yes. Looking forward to it. And now I will say this, it's a different track, so now they ran it in the region also,
Yeah.
so we'll see how it goes.
I think we'll do well.
I think we're getting at least one team champion out of it. At least one.
If Brentwood gets it, whew.
It's exciting. It's very exciting. Very exciting time in WCS.
Hey, man, that's just what we do here.
It's what we do. Let's talk football recaps. Final week of the regular season. Our WCTV game of the week, Independence 14, Ravenwood 28. Ravenwood jumped out early, 14-0. Independence just couldn't seem to get over the hump. And speaking of that 14-0 lead, let's take a look at our WCTV play of the week.
Well, big pass there from my man Trevor Andrews to Justin Smitherman. That was on the second drive of the game. It was huge. It was very important for the Raptors to start off hot. And they had the first drive, they had gone 10 plays, 80 yards. And then to come back and have that one, now they're up 14-0. That kind of changes how Independence plays offense, their game plan a little bit. And that was huge, man. And great performance by Ravenwood. They got to be the best 6-4 team in all the land. But that was a great strike there from Andrews to Smitherman. Smitherman's another one of the playmakers they got. And you want to be playing your best football come playoff time. This was a pretty impressive win in Week 11 by the Raptors.
It really was. In fact, a team's playing well because I was standing by some of the Independence folks during the game, and they kept mentioning, how did they get beat by Brentwood? No disrespect to Brentwood,
right,
obviously, but I think that was more of a, man, Ravenwood just looks impressive. I feel like it's stride time for them.
I'm serious. We've talked about it this week. I really think more than any other region, this region has a matchup deal. I don't know why, but I think Ravenwood is a bad matchup for Brentwood. I think Ravenwood's a bad matchup for Independence. Independence is a bad matchup for Brentwood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ravenwood struggles with Brentwood. Brentwood struggles. Ravenwood struggles with Brentwood. Brentwood struggles with Indy. Indy struggles with Ravenwood. Crazy.
It's interesting. It really is. Yeah. Something I noticed, of course, great numbers by Andrews, and Jackson Campbell had great numbers there for Independence, but it reminds me of last year with Grimes. Who gets a touchdown run? Mr. Colson.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Daniels not afraid to put him back there.
Put your playmakers on the field. And I talked to Coach Daniels about this. I love this about Andrews. Andrews started off the season on fire. Got into a little bit of tougher part of the schedule, and then, the numbers weren't quite like they were. Didn't hang his head, kept working, and man, really the last 3 games has been on fire again, playing really well. And then Jackson Campbell. I want you to think about that now. These are 2 of the better teams in the state. Andrews had 108 rushing yards and 195 passing yards. Jackson had, over 200 yards passing, and I think that was the key to the game. They were able to hold him under 50, 60 rushing yards. I think that was the key, really. Ravenwood defense played really well.
A couple touchdown passes for Campbell, one to Brigham Moricall, and then a great pass on 4th and 10 to Ty Lockwood into the first half with like 15 seconds left that cut the lead to 21-14. You thought, uh-oh, Mo is on Independence's side. Both defenses played pretty well in the third quarter, but Ravenwood's able to tack on another score. Really the difference when I look at the stats, 3-1 turnovers.
Yeah, 3-1 turnovers, started off 14-0. Those were the 2. And Holden, like I said, Jackson. If Jackson goes over 100 yards, it's a whole different ballgame. So now we're going to talk about it later, but Laverne's had the best season they've had in 25 years. What's your reward? Indy. Have fun with that.
So with that win and the Brentwood 49-7 win over Centennial in the final game of the year for Centennial, Brentwood finishes first, Ravenwood second, Indy third. Centennial did jump out 7-0 on a Cannon Plowman 91-yard pass to Jason Bennett, but from there it was just pretty much domination. Brentwood just overmatched Centennial was. Grands out 24 for 27, 275 yards, a couple of touchdowns, 62 yards rushing, and a touchdown. Walker Merrill, big game too, 200 yards receiving and a touchdown. So Brentwood ready to go for the playoffs.
Without a doubt, and I thought this was pretty cool. Walker set, those were both school records for a single receiving game in receptions and yards. They've been playing football since 1982. A lot of good teams, pretty strong. And I think he did it in 3 quarters.
Wow, big numbers. Centennial, again, that's the end of their season. Coach Kreisky and the young Cougars, hey, we can rewind the tape right here. They will be much improved next year. It's time. It's time.
Take a couple of weeks off. Let's get in the weight room. Let's get bigger, stronger. We're young. You're dang right.
Fairview, maybe the game of the weekend. It was kind of surprising the way it happened. They lose 26-27 at Stewart County. The 4-year reign, 24-game winning streak in the region ended. And here's this week's gem, by the way, Tate. Fairview had not lost a region game since 2015 to Camden, 32-28 at home, by the way. It's the first time they've been behind in the fourth quarter since then.
Wow.
Can you imagine the mounting pressure? So I was surprised because they were up 26-7. And then Stewart County just starts getting into that lead a little bit. Fairview, couple of missed conversions, which obviously made a difference, right? You get both of those and you win.
Yeah.
28-27. I know the game could have been played a little bit differently, but you got to credit Stewart County. It kind of feels like in reading about them, just kind of their year.
Yeah.
That these breaks were kind of going their way, and you get breaks because you're good, right? just like Fairview's gotten in the past. But Fairview comes up a little bit short, which really puts them in a tough position come playoff time.
Yeah, which you'll lay it out in the brackets, but you're right. There were some uncharacteristic things that happened Friday night against a good Stewart County team, and still had a chance to win. So, Coach Hughes has been here before. He knows how to spin it. But yeah, man, heartbreaker. But number 2, they're still hosting. So, get back to work, fix those things. They were little things. But against good football teams, which you're going to see in the playoffs, you can't do that.
Riley Bennett threw his first interception of the year, which I thought was, wow, that's pretty impressive. And I think Jackson Campbell only threw his second of the year the other night. So that's pretty impressive for these quarterbacks. Riley did have 121 yards on 16 carries during the game. Franklin, 43, Dickson County, 26. Congratulations. Connor Bevan, over 2,000 yards passing for the year. Listen to these stats the other night. 19 for 24, 321 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing also, and Carson Repass, 8 receptions, 154 yards and a touchdown. Bryce Sparks, 6 rushes, 131 yards.
Yeah.
And a touchdown.
So what's 6 times 20?
120, so he did better than that.
I mean, think about that for a second. Yeah.
It's a lot. 524 yards of offense. Dixon scores the first touchdown of the game. The next 27 are Franklin, rolling right into the playoffs.
Hey, shout out to Connor Bevan, too. First year as a starting quarterback, over 2,000 yards, pretty strong. I talked to my man, Coach Webb, the head admiral. I think we have to go back to Critchlow for a 2,000-yard passer at Franklin. So, great job.
No doubt.
Not over yet.
Nolansville, 35, Marshall County, 28. This was for second place and a home game, huge.
Yeah.
Nolansville's up 21-7 at the half, and it's a home game, by the way. I think I got a call from Lance. He had to correct me and said, were you trying to mess Tate up by saying the game was at Marshall County? But I did make the call.
Psychological warfare.
Lance, I did make the call to Tate, and I said, hey, I messed up. I mentioned that the game was at Marshall. He said, no, I've got Marshall County as my pick, so fair and square. I'm not saying I wouldn't cheat if I needed to, but in that particular case, I did.
Bend the rules. That's bending the rules.
No, that'd been flat
That's
cheating. That'd been flat cheating if I'd done
dishonesty.
that.
Yeah, well, I think maybe the Rules Infraction Committee needs to take a look at this.
I would only cheat in games like this. I mean, like real stuff, no cheating.
Right.
No cheating. So anyway, it's 28-21. Marshall County goes up. What happens? 2 names you've heard a lot. Ryder Gallardi, Samson Johnson. He scores one of his 3 touchdowns for the night. Actually, he had 4 touchdowns. Samson had 3 rushing and 1 receiving. So he's just one of those guys. He's like the touchdown maker. And I'll give you credit. You called it early in his freshman year.
Hey, I didn't do it. We're going to do it. I'm telling you now, he's a sophomore. We need to go back and see at the end of the year how many touchdowns. He's got 2 more years now. I mean, I think he's going to leave this conference as the all-time touchdown leader. I mean, we got to think he's just going to keep getting better, right? I mean,
we got to get the crack research staff going.
We do.
Just to see what's going on
I'll be calling
there.
Coach Derrick after the show, but I don't know. He might not want to jinx it. Yeah, kid's a playmaker, touchdown maker, knows how to find the end zone.
Big win for Nolansville.
Ryder Gallardi, hey, Coach Olive told me after the Tullahoma game, had a lot of respect for Gallardi. Said the best quarterback they'd seen all year, and he was really impressed with him.
He's going to see him again.
He's going to see him again. He knows that. Maybe that's why buttering him up a little bit.
Final game, because Summit, by the way, as you said, we talked about this, I think. We might have talked about it on air.
We did.
Their 4th game that was canceled, so they get the win over Lincoln County, but they don't play. So they've only played 6 of the 10 games. Of course, they got wins in those games, but 6 that they actually played. Page dominates Franklin County 41-17. Franklin County involved in a brawl with Shelbyville, and at the airing of this show, we don't even know the 5A bracket.
No.
Because there's an appeal going on from Shelbyville now Franklin County got banned from the playoffs because they can't win enough. Shelbyville was banned from the playoffs because of their participation in this brawl.
Brawl. And it was let's be clear here. This was not a scuffle. This was a brawl.
And we're not laughing because we think it's funny. It's just.
No, it was serious stuff. Hey, but before Paige, McNamara, 5 touchdown passes. I've been telling you, man, Bones said this guy can be one of the best quarterbacks to come out of there. That's a big statement, and he's living up to it now.
He is. So let's do this, Tate. We're going to change it up a little bit.
Hey, and also, talk about big. Depending on what happens on this appeal today, Page could either be 2 or 3. Well, that's home playoff versus road playoff.
A huge difference.
Huge difference.
So when we talk about the 5A bracket, it'll be a little bit messed up when we speak of it. But we're going to do like we did last year, and we'll end up getting to our picks here in just a second. But we're going to take a look at the playoff brackets and how it impacts our teams in WCS, and we're going to sort of make predictions about how it might go. Now, we're not going to hold ourselves to these when we still got to make the picks each week.
That's right.
But we're just saying,
It's just
looking
fun.
at it, we're going to see what we think. So let's start off in 3A with Fairview. They start off against East Nashville. Fairview's the number 2 seed. East Nashville's only coming in at 3-1. Obviously, their season was a little bit shorter. The winner will get the winner of Pearl Cone Camden. So Tate, tell me what your thoughts are about that portion of the bracket.
Well, let's just go ahead and state the obvious, Captain Obvious. What is that?
He kind of wears
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Go ahead, Captain.
I'm going to go ahead and state the obvious. Pearl Cone is going to boat race Camden.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that leads us to Fairview and East Nashville. So Fairview and East Nashville, Fairview's been very dominant against them in the playoffs the last few times they've met. They got a new head coach, Jamal Stewart. They've only played 4 games. I think they're a better coach team than what they were, but I still think Fairview gets the win. So what does that mean? It means then we're going into the second round, Pearl Cone Fairview. I think we're going to get to that in a second. Golly, that's not who you wanted to see in the second round, but hey, I think these are, they were going to have to go through each other at some point anyway. So you ready to go to the bottom half? I mean, under that?
The bottom half for me, I think Milan, and I agree with you. So I'm going to go this far and say the Pearl Cone Fairview winner will be in the state championship game.
Definitely in this. Well, okay. So let's say this. Let's say Fairview beats Pearl Cone. We got to think Giles County beats Harpeth. Stewart's County. There's a little bit of confusion here on the brackets. They've got Stratford. We don't think that's right. So let's say it's going to be Giles County and Stewart County. Stewart County is going to beat Giles. The winner of Pearl Cone Fairview gets Stewart County again. Would love to see Fairview Part 2. But yeah, I think you're definitely in the semis, but now Milan Westview, they're good too. So
I'm saying Milan will play the winner or they're going to play either Pearl Cone or Fairview.
I like that.
In the semis.
Stewart County does not beat Fairview twice if Fairview can get past Pearl Cone.
Agreed. All right, let's take a look at 4A.
And we're starting to see with all the cancellations in the West, let's look at this. Milan has a first round bye. Covington, they're all buys.
All of them, because they match up with those teams.
Yep.
So if you're in that part of the bracket, that's an advantage. All right, let's talk 4A bracket. Nolansville taking on Livingston Academy. Again, Nolansville, the number 2 seed. The winner of that matchup will get the winner of DeKalb County, number 1 seed, versus Spring Hill. What do you think about that draw for Nolansville?
Well, I think another important reason why to finish number 2 and to beat Marshall County. And they wanted to beat Marshall County against a good team, and it was a good win. They've had to go to Livingston Academy before, and they've won, but that's a tough trip. So I think that was great that they got them at home. Now Livingston's got to come all the way to Nolansville. So Livingston, I think, weren't they undefeated a couple years ago in Nolansville?
Yeah, this year only. Yeah, that's right. And right. Nolansville knocked them off.
That's right. And this is not as good of a Livingston team. So great draw for them, I think. I think Nolansville definitely gets the win above it. DeKalb County, did you see all that? They were out, and now they're back in. They're not going to have a whole lot of practice time. I still think they beat Spring Hill. And then Nolansville is going to end up beating DeKalb County, which what does that mean? You got to think that means a rematch with Tullahoma, right? We know Tullahoma is going to beat Stone Memorial, and then Marshall County, Macon County, whoever you want there, Tullahoma's beating them. We're looking at Nolo, Tullahoma, Part 2 in the quarterfinals. Whew, that's going to be a big one.
Nolansville will win this time.
I like it.
I don't even think Nolansville is going to get challenged until that Tullahoma game.
Well, I agree.
And then if they win that, they get a rematch of the semis.
And I love this.
Against Elizabethton, right?
Or Anderson County, yes.
I think it's Elizabethton.
I'm with you.
Can't wait.
It's going to be big. We're not picking there yet, right?
No.
Yeah, okay. We're just previewing.
I think Nolansville, it'll be ironic if they get just as far or further than last year's team, because last year's team was really the big talk, right? Hey, they kind of flown under the radar this year.
I think they like it. Well, and, we're pro Wilco here, but Tullahoma's undefeated. I mean, they deserve it. Hey, here's what's going to be fun. DeKalb County, they have the mid-state's leading passer in the Aldino kid. Gallardi versus Aldino or whatever. That'll be a fun one to go to.
Well, but then they don't have Samson Johnson.
No.
So.
Nor a defense to stop Samson Johnson.
All right, let's talk 5A. It's soapbox time. I'm sure we're going to have like a soapbox on the screen here. Mr. Mathews, you've got a little bone to pick with this 5A bracket, correct?
Yes, I do. And would you like for me to go?
Sure.
So what has happened
I feel like we need a disclaimer.
Right.
Views from
Set it up.
Mr. Tate Mathews are not necessarily shared by Livingston County Schools.
Well, so you want to set the stage?
So basically what's happened, we said Shelbyville and Franklin County, they get banned from the playoffs, but Shelbyville is appealing.
Correct.
So because of that appeal, if they win the appeal, like you said, Page goes to 3, they lose the appeal, Page is second. The problem is we're sitting here early in the week and they haven't been able to prepare for their opponent for sure.
Correct. So to go one step further, Lincoln County, okay? So Shelbyville is appealing. I don't blame them. I think if you were the administrator there,
Sure.
we would appeal. I don't blame them for that. The problem is they said last week they were going to appeal. The TWAA, who I try to defend at every turn that I can, they couldn't find the time. Now, this is 2020. How many Zoom meetings have you been on, Mr. Joins?
1,274.
The TWAA cannot find time to meet until 1:30 today to decide the fate of Shelbyville. Well, why does that matter? Well, if they rule in favor of Shelbyville, Shelbyville's in the playoffs. They're number 2 seed, Page 3, Columbia 4. Lincoln County's out. But Lincoln County doesn't know that they're out. If they don't rule in favor of Shelbyville, Page is 2, Columbia's 3, and Lincoln. So Lincoln County has prepared all week. They had already taken their equipment up. I know, I talked to Coach Rose. They had taken their equipment up. They had, handing them back out. They prepared for an opponent. And here at 1:30, you got to get ready for practice, right? They might be getting a phone call, hey, by the way, you're out of the playoffs. We couldn't have a Zoom meeting on Friday or Saturday or Sunday?
Make a prediction what you think is going to happen.
Shelbyville's out. They're not going to overturn it.
I agree.
So why didn't we just do this? 1:30? What did they? Were they running in a 5K today? What are we talking about? You know Walt Wells. What are we doing?
So here's what I'm going to say. I'll say this about the 5A.
Am I off base?
Probably not.
Okay.
The winner of the Summit Beach game in the quarterfinals
It's going to Cookeville.
is going to Cookeville. I'm going to say that. We'll clear this bracket up a little bit next week, but that's my prediction. Do you agree with that, Mr. Mathews?
I do. And the other thing I hate is my man Destin Wade with COVID. There's nothing you can do, but he's out there voting for Mr. Football. He'll move on to the finalists. I plead that he doesn't get penalized by not having enough games because none of them were his fault, and to my knowledge, none of them were Summit's fault, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'm off my soapbox. I'll be back next week.
But I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. We can take the disclaimer off now, Mr. Producer. Let's talk 6A real quick. By the time we get to our picks, we'll be able to do this fairly quickly. I know we're getting a little short on time. So 6A. Here's where I think you see the WCS dominance. In my opinion, and I think you would agree, we win all of the first round games. Now, Franklin is the number 4 seed. They travel to Smyrna. We've done pretty well against Smyrna.
Yes.
Ravenwood gets a walkover as the number 2 seed.
Correct.
They're not even having to play.
Correct.
Because they were supposed to play Stewart's Creek. They're not playing.
Correct.
The 3rd seed is Independence. You mentioned this earlier. They go to Laverne. Congratulations, Laverne. You've got Indy. And then the number 1 seed, Brentwood, who might have the toughest route, not only for first round opponent, but also semifinal. They take on Cane Ridge. Do we agree we're going to win all 4?
We do. The Achilles heel in this matchup the past few years has been Caden Ridge is the 1, and that's been tough to get past. Now they're the 4 due to them not starting because of NBA headmaster, Mr. Joya, and the mayor and all that. No reason to get into that. But that's good for us as a Region 6A because that matches them up against our number 1 Brentwood, who I think handles them. But you're right. I think we go 4 for 4.
Bottom of the bracket, I'm going to say Bartlett gets all the way to the semis, and I think it's going to come down to Battle of the Woods, number 2, to determine who will play Bartlett in the semis. That's
Correct.
my prediction.
And Bartlett's pretty good, but
You agree with that?
100%. Well, I don't know. Independents might say, "No, wait a second.
And they're playing.
They're going to have to go through us."
And
So
you were talking about, you thought it was a bad matchup.
I do.
So you don't want to commit to that yet.
No. There's a lot that can happen now. But I think you're right. Here's what we do know. Franklin beats Smyrna. Ravenwood beats Stewart's Creek. That's already done. Independence beats Laverne. Brentwood beats Cane Ridge. Now, that's when we'll pick those next week. But you're exactly right. I think we have a Wilco representative in Goodwill.
No doubt about it. You know, Scott Blade mentioned that when we previewed the Ravenwood Independence game. He said, I think one of our teams is going to make it all the way, which is not surprising. That's what happens, right? A lot.
Correct. And then on that, we're not going to go through that top half, but we got to think it's going to come down to Maryville, Oakland, right?
And I think it'll be Maryville again.
That was going to be a tough one to pick.
It's just hard to pick against them.
Yeah.
Oakland's shown a little bit of chink in the arm, even though they've been winning, but there's been a couple times I think they've shown a little chink. Warren County played them close.
They did.
Give them credit. I mean, you got to give them credit too, but I feel like Oakland, just some little chinks. Brentwood wouldn't probably agree with.
Yeah. Coach Crawford's sitting there, what's he talking about, guy?
But him preparing for them,
It was different. Yeah.
Different. We'll throw that one out.
Yeah. Hey, I'd love to see a rematch.
Let's talk pick'ems here. Now, some of these we've already picked, so I'll just kind of skip over them. Last week, you and I go 4-2. We're still tied with 46 wins. I got the Nolansville game.
Correct.
But you got the Ravenwood game. So,
and hey, I've never been so happy to lose on that game. I'm glad Nolansville won.
The fans were also 4-2. Qualls was 3-3. So now Qualls has 42 wins. The fans, so they're battling for third. You and I are battling for first. I think that's
he got just enough success that he thought he was back in.
And he's not. Yeah.
No. Stick to entrepreneurial.
Yeah, not enough time to be focusing on it, which is good. That means he's doing his job.
That's right.
Fans, keep voting on Twitter, WCSCO Athletics. So let's just go through this. We picked Brentwood over Cane Ridge, both of us.
Yes.
We both picked Franklin over Smyrna,
Yes.
Indy over Laverne, Ravenwood walkover against Stewart's Creek, Nolansville over Livingston Academy. So really, even though I guess we picked this one too, Fairview, East Nashville, we're both saying Fairview, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there'll only be 2 more picks, and those will be offline because we don't know 100% Summit, although we think Summit's going to be Hillwood, right?
Why wouldn't it be?
Is it that other doesn't impact
I think that
at
one's
all?
done. Yeah, I think that one's done.
As is Hillwood season, by the way.
Hey, what do you know? Do you know what Hillwood's mascot
The
is?
Hilltoppers.
That's right.
Come on, man.
Let me look at this Hillwood. Keep talking.
Something it's not going to be on.
Yeah, I think that's done. So let's go with it.
We think it's done. If not, we'll obviously.
It doesn't matter. We're going Summit. Not Keaton. Destin's eating popcorn with Miss Hankins and leading the cheers in the third quarter.
Have you talked to Miss Hankins, by the way, about the Eastern Kentucky connection?
She's a Kern, man. Roll Kerns.
No doubt. Your son's there playing, doing a great job.
Yep. He's having a lot of fun, man. They had a big win over Central Arkansas.
They were ranked, right? Like 11th?
They were ranked. Now, here's what's crazy.
They ranked 11th?
They were ranked 10th.
10th.
Here's what's pretty cool about COVID. Tell me when last time you heard this. They beat them, right? 2 weeks ago? They play them again in 2 weeks. They did a home and home.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, pretty neat.
I say good on Coach Wells, and I don't know their coach, but that's good for them.
And the other thing that Miss Hankins is very excited about, Jalen Harrod, former Spartan, is a colonel, and he's doing very well too. So she's got a lot of colonel
Next
pride
level.
right now.
Hashtag next level.
Hey, mark my words, he will be an all-conference linebacker before it's all said and done.
I agree with you.
Book it.
Tate, look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Go vote on the games.
No doubt. There's some other voting this week too. Do that as well.
Probably ought to do that.
Go vote. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Sports Connection.